Hi everyone, welcome back. Let's have a look at more equations. In the previous video I talked about simple cases where you could just guess it in your head. You could guess that one. I can look at that and go, that's going to be 5, 2 5s are 10, and work out what it is. But what if you can't see that? Because the moment we get anywhere with equations, and anything to do with real life, which is everywhere, like anything you can think of uses equations, we need a method. Now let's have a look at what's happening here. There's two ways to do this question. For today, I'm going to show you one. Maybe later in passing I might mention the other one. I prefer to show people one method, get the one method to sink in. Once it's sunk in or someone's struggling with it, I can show them another method. I think it's too confusing to show people lots of different methods, 2 or 3 different methods. So here we go. My principle of teaching is show one, give people a chance, repeat it a bit and see if they're okay. So what can I do with a bracket? In between that's a multiply. Hopefully you've learnt before when we expand brackets, we go 2 times x and we go 2 times 3. So that's called the distributive law. Don't really need to know that it's a distributive law, but we're distributing the 2 onto everything. It's almost like I had some coins in my pocket and I said, oh, I've got 2 of everything in my pocket. So if I had some 5-cent coins and I had some, say, 3 $1 coins, I could then say I've got twice everything in my pocket. And would it make sense to you? Yeah, got 2 of them and 2 of them. So what have we got? Let's use, I'm going to call it the eyebrow method. Everyone calls it eyebrow method. 2 times x is just 2x. Sort of a reminder of what we have done, especially when it gets more complicated. This one will be 2 times 3 is 6. Now what have we done? We've gone up positive 2 times another positive 3, so it's all a positive or an addition. We go to 10. Now it's back to the same as the last video. Could go divide 2, divide 2, divide 2. Like I said, one method first. Don't want to introduce fractions, though this one wouldn't introduce fractions. How do I get rid of a plus 6? Opposite, back to ops, opposites to both sides. It's all we're doing all the time, the obs. Like observations, but no, it's different, but it's obs. Opposites of both sides. How do I get plus 6 or minus 6? If I minus 6 on this side, I've got to balance up the scales. So if I took 6 kilograms off this side, it's lighter. Up it goes in the air, either a scale or a seesaw. And I've got to put 6 kilos back onto the other side. Like picking up one of my dogs, they're about 6 kilos. So if I had my dog in my arms and I was balanced up on the seesaw and she jumped off my arms, I'd be 6 kilos lighter, I'd go in the air. To make up for her jumping off, we'd have to remove 6 kilos on the other side, which would be handy if there was a dog on the other side also at 6 kilos. Let's have a look at it. So if I take 6 from this side, I take 6 from that side. Again, I prefer to write it there. Some people prefer it on the next line. It's up to you, but for the moment, all my videos are going to go take 6 to balance it up. What have we done to this? That's gone because 6 takes 6 is 0. So I'm left with 2x. And it's nice. All we've done is we've made this simpler. It's nice to make it simpler so it tells us the answer so we don't have to think. Some people say, oh, I just think about it. No, you can get back to this method. 10 takes 6 is 4. Now it doesn't matter how complicated the equations get, same method applies. Now this is a multiplied by 2 again because it was made up by a lot of people a long time ago. So the opposite of that is divide by 2, divide by 2. 2 into x goes once, I don't have to write the 1 for the x, and 2 into 4 goes twice. Let's do another one, it's got a minus. Just give a chance for your brain to take it in. I almost need to just slow down a bit. Between the 3 and the bracket, between any 2 things written together, the 3 and the bracket, there's a multiply. How do I expand the brackets? I use what's called the distributive law. 3 times x is 3x. Remember, x just means a number that we're looking for. Actually, if you go back a long time in history, people actually wrote the words, the number or something of that form. Interesting when you look back at it. So this one will be a 3 times 2, which is a 6. This didn't say minus, so 1 minus makes a minus. 2 negatives would make a positive. So you can imagine if I had a minus out here as well, I'll have a positive. But this one is just a minus, equals 6. And here's where a lot of people go wrong and they put 3x equals 0. See it over and over again. What's the opposite of minus 6? Add 6. Add 6 to this side, add 6 to that side. So those who don't think this way and refuse to think this way, will often make more mistakes. It's just one of those things when I'm marking, you see all the time, and they'll often have 0 written there. So here we go, a little bit of care to start with. Remember, the goal is care now so you can go faster and better later on. So this one is a 3x, so I've made it look more simple. And actually at that point, you can look at the question and go 3 4s are 12. But what if you can't tell? How do I get rid of a multiply? I divide. If I divide side, opposites to both sides, opposite of times by 3 is, divide 3 and divide 3. 3 into 3 goes once, so that's a 1x, don't have to write the 1. 3 into 12 goes 4. So there's 2 of those, but now let's make it different. We're going to introduce, I keep talking about everyone's favourite topic because it's just so often, this question has a fraction. We don't want fractions where possible. Why do I say we don't want fractions? Because too many people mess up with them, which is one of the reasons why the first set of videos I made were on simple fractions. If you want to go have a look at them. So let's have a look. Some people will go multiply 2 and get rid of that fraction first. I'm going to show that method. How do I get rid of a divide by 2? The opposite of divide by 2 is multiply by 2. I multiply that one by 2. This is for later on, it's especially needed, so that's why I teach this one first. If I multiply that one by 2, I'm going to multiply that one by 2, I'm going to multiply that one by 2. A lot of times in tests and exams I see people just writing that. It's like you've just ignored, like the 3 didn't exist. So let's watch out. Can't ignore the 3. So that I can talk about things and why, but for the moment, just don't ignore that 3. So on this one it'll be don't ignore the -1. If I double that, I've got to double that. And I could talk about the seesaw and say we doubled this and we doubled that, but we didn't double one section of the seesaw. And all of a sudden it's unbalanced. It's really about balance. So what have I got? 2 into 2 goes 1, so I've just got a 1x, I don't have to write the 1. 3 2s are 6, 6 2s are 12, and you could just look at that and write the answer down. It is acceptable just to put x equals 6. The method though, how do I, opposites of both sides, I go take 6 and take 6. Balance it up, if I do it to one side, I do it to the other, and there's my answer, x equals 6. So the method is there. Just some people, or so many people, say, no, I can just do it in my head, or I can do this method, or I can go, or a lot of people just go across the page and make a mess, and when it gets harder, it's almost like you go back to them and say, come on, let's start again. So what have I got? I got fractions, I have the thing about fractions, and it's always get rid of fractions first, wherever possible. So this says divide 5, so what's the opposite? What divide 5 is? To multiply 5. They're opposites of each other. So if I multiply this by 5, multiply that by 5, I can't just ignore that -1, it's important, and I ignore that by 5. So what have I got? 5 into 5 goes once, so that's a 1x, I can just write my x. 1 times the 5 is 5, and I just wrote the minus there. Could have said that, not got 2 minuses. 2 minuses become a plus, it's only got the 1, so it stays a minus, and then 2 5s are 10. And I do see people struggle when you do this and they'll go, oh, it's 5. No. How do I get rid of my -5? I add 5 this side, I add 5 that side. And of course a lot of people just see this answer as 15. But a lot of people don't. Or don't want to even. What have I got left? Now, -5 plus 5 mucks people up. If I said 5 minus 5, people don't get mucked up. So you can add and subtract in any order. So I could go to teaching what this is, but I'm not. I'm just going to stick to 5 take 5 is 0. Could just say it's gone. And I've just got x equals 15 and the question tells me the answer. Now beware the trap. At this point I've shown you some simple ones. They can go much harder. They can get annoying numbers. They can be made to look different. One of the things people don't like at the start of our equations is there's so many possibilities. But we'll keep that for another video. Thanks.